Hi there, my name is Ian and I'm going to be your host for tonight's TED Talk. I'm going to start by proposing a question. That is, if you've ever experienced an allergic reaction, have you ever stopped to think, what's going on inside my body? In today's discussion, I'm going to present to you the basic science behind your body's natural reaction to these foreign invaders that cause allergic reactions. Additionally, we're going to present to you a real-life scenario in which a patient ingests a peanut and experiences an allergic reaction. And then lastly, we're going to cover a little bit more in-depth on what happens when histamine is released from mast cells and how that can be combated by using the drug diphenhydramine, or as we more commonly know it, Benadryl. So what causes allergic reactions? Well, allergic reactions are brought on by allergens such as dust, pollen, medicines, or as you're about to see, a food allergen. Your immune system has a way of recognizing and fighting off these allergens, and in doing so, you may experience some symptoms. Some of those include itching, sneezing, hives, or it can be called urticaria, and also you can experience shortness of breath, and if worst case scenario, you might experience hypovolemic shock or anaphylaxis. Although there are many working cellular parts to your immune system, we're only going to cover a basic look at what is happening during adaptive immunity. And then in that, we're only going to look at one part of adaptive immunity. So this isn't a comprehensive video. This is just looking at what is happening specifically in our patient's case in this real life scenario you're about to see. So with that, let's take a look at the scene where our patient is experiencing an allergic reaction. Let's go.
Hey, Melanie.
Hey girl, thank you for meeting me in the park.
Aw, it's a really nice day.
I know it is beautiful out here.
Like, we need a break away from our house sometime.
Definitely. What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend. Well, it's close to Thanksgiving, so we're gonna just buy a couple things to get ready for the holidays. We have a couple things planned out already. What about you?
I'm going home and we're gonna have Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah,
Nice.
So that should be fun.
Nice.
Speaking of dinner, I'm kind of starving, dude. Can I have a bite of that?
Oh, yeah. Here. Here's some of my granola bar. Drink some water too.
A few moments later.
Melanie, are you okay?
I'm not feeling so good. I'm kind of hot and it's hard to breathe.
You're a little bit sweaty, Melanie.
Yeah, my throat feels like it's closing up.
Melanie, do I need to call someone for you?
Yes, please call 911 for me.
Oh dear. I need to call 911. Hello? Hello? My friend's not feeling well. Yeah, we're at the park. Can you guys send someone over? She's having trouble breathing. And she's looking a little sweaty and she's breaking out into these rashes.
Tell them to hurry, please.
Can you please hurry? She's getting worse. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. They're coming in a couple minutes, okay?
Thank you.
Just hang in tight. Do you need anything?
No.
Okay.
Cheese. Can she move?
Oh.
Ma'am, please. Sorry. Hi, my name is Malia. I'm here to help you. I'm with the EMS, okay? And I'm Colleen. So how are you doing today?
I can't breathe.
What's your name?
Melanie.
Melanie? Okay. We're gonna get a look at you. Malia's gonna get vitals here. So how did this start?
We were eating just now. We were just taking a little break at the park, having a little picnic.
Okay. Do you know how long ago this has been going on?
This was about like 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes? Okay. Has this ever happened to her before? Do you know of?
I don't know. Like I haven't
Okay.
seen it before.
Does she have any illnesses or past medical history you know of?
Not that I know of. I think she's like super healthy.
Okay. Did she eat anything today?
Well, I gave her this granola bar. That she was a little bit hungry, so I just thought this was like something good for her to kind of get some energy.
Okay. Have you ever had this before? No? Okay. Do you have any allergies that you know of?
No.
No? Okay. We could possibly be having an allergic reaction right now, so we are gonna wait on those vitals. But, so we're gonna take care of your friend. We're gonna get her out on the ambulance, and we're gonna figure out what's going on. Hey, Malia, what are the vitals you got on here?
BP 120/80. Pulse is rapid but weak, and she has shallow breathing with a respiratory rate of 20.
Okay.
Ma'am, I have to check your airway. Can you open your mouth for me?
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home.
My time is shot.
It's an antigen. Not today. You're coming with me.
Hey, dendritic cell.
Oh, hey. Your shirt's on backwards.
Really?
You need to grow up here.
Huh. Nice. Hey, yo, B cell. We need you here. We got an antigen.
Coming.
Hey there, B cell. I'm glad you're here. We have to protect this body. I'm gonna activate you now.
Now that I'm activated, I can produce some antibodies. Oh, here's a mast cell. Here you go.
Let's find some antigens! Now that I have some antibodies, it's time to get an antigen. Gotcha! I'm degranulating!
Ah.
Gotcha! I'm degranulating!
Alright, Melanie, I'm gonna give you a Benadryl pill to help.
Okay.
Water.
Thank you.
Alright, and we're gonna take you to the ambulance now.
Okay, thank you.
Man, that was a long ride. So where's this issue located?
Now, we'll talk a little bit about the cellular mechanism of histamine after it is released when it binds to histamine receptors. As you saw, inside of our patient, the mast cell came into contact with the antigen. The mast cell then degranulated and released histamine. Histamine is not only made and released by mast cells, but for the purpose of this video, this is where we saw the release. Another note, histamine is not only released during an allergic reaction, it can be released in response to tissue injury and in response to drugs. Now that we have the histamine release, the next course of action is for histamine to bind to any of the 4 types of histamine receptors in the body. They are conveniently labeled H1, H2, H3, and H4. For the purpose of this explanation, we will focus on the H1 receptor since it is the most important in an allergic reaction. Histamine receptors are GPCRs or G protein coupled receptors. Specifically, histamine receptors are part of the rhodopsin GPCR family. They have similar features to all GPCRs, including the 7 transmembrane domains and a heterotrimeric protein made of alpha, beta, and gamma subunits. As discussed earlier, one of the symptoms an individual experiences during an allergic reaction is swelling or edema. Binding of histamine to an H1 receptor in the vascular endothelial cells causes vasodilation and increased permeability. Conversely, histamine binding to smooth muscle receptors found in the bronchioles causes bronchial constriction. This is what led to our patient experiencing shortness of breath and swelling. Now, let's look at what's happening mechanistically. If you draw your attention to the top left, we see the histamine that is hanging out in the extracellular space following mast cell degranulation. Here is our H1 histamine receptor. Being a part of the rhodopsin GPCR family, histamine will bind to a subunit on the receptor that is situated within the membrane of the cell. This is why we don't see the histamine molecule in the next step. At this point, the G-alpha-Q subunit of the G protein will trade GDP with GTP to become activated. The G-alpha-Q subunit will then activate phospholipase C. In the following step, phospholipase C cleaves a membrane lipid called phosphatidylinositol 4,5-bisphosphate, or PIP2 for short. The cleavage event leads to 2 different secondary messengers. One messenger is 1,4,5-triphosphate, or IP3 for short, and diacylglycerol, or DAG for short. IP3 will diffuse through the endoplasmic reticulum and bind to a receptor called the INS3P receptor. This binding triggers the release of calcium from the endoplasmic reticulum to the cytoplasm of the cell. In the next step, both calcium and DAG activate an enzyme called protein kinase C, or PKC for short. PKC activates the transcription factor NF-kappa B in the final stage for this pathway. This leads to increased antigen presentation, increased expression of pro-inflammatory cytokines, cell adhesion molecules, and chemotactic factors. These increases explain the hypersensitive immune response our patient is starting to experience when she ate that nut-based granola bar. As we know, our patient may need more than Benadryl to combat her symptoms of her allergic reaction, but since one of the treatments she was given was Benadryl, we shall focus on how that drug acts specifically. After Melanie took the Benadryl, it was broken down and metabolized through her GI tract. After absorption from the GI tract, the Benadryl can start to work its magic. Benadryl is an antihistamine, meaning that it blocks histamine. It does this by acting on H1 receptors. Antihistamines do not have the same shape or structure as normal histamines, and because of this, antihistamines bind non-competitively to H1 histamine receptors, ultimately leaving the receptor stabilized in the inactive state. As we see here, the antihistamine is binding at a different site compared to histamine, and we no longer have the downstream cascade we would normally see during a histamine binding. This results in relief of some of the symptoms of an allergic reaction by slowing down the immune response that causes the symptoms. This is actually a relatively simple mechanism and interestingly effective way to combat the symptoms of an immune response. So I hope this helped you understand the mechanism behind histamine release and how antihistamines work. Thank you.